As it is, turning off galley items will stop any smoke coming from ovens or coffee makers. Smoke coming from defective equipment will stop after the equipment temperature is normal. Pulling circuit breakers is also recommended. Fighting fires of known source inside the cabin are normally trained and follow predetermined company standards. While firefighting is carried out, cabin crew should use every safety equipment available. It includes PBE, flashlight, gloves, and axes. Captain and other crew members must be advised, and the flight crew regularly updated regarding fire status. Should smoke or fumes affect the passengers, they must be instructed to breathe through wet paper towels or clothing and, if necessary, be moved away from the source of smoke. If it is not possible to relocate passengers, make them keep their heads as low as possible. If the fire is inside a lavatory, one crew member must go to the lavatory with a portable fire extinguisher and, before opening it, check if the door is cool or hot. If it is cool, open the door slowly and cautiously. Try to locate the fire and discharge the fire extinguisher at the base of the fire. Soak the area with water to prevent reignition. If the door is hot, which indicates that the fire is severe, at a critical stage, slightly open it, only enough to introduce the fire extinguisher nozzle. Discharge the fire extinguisher, close to the door and wait for a short while. Then take another fire extinguisher. Put on the PBE and gloves, if available, and enter the lavatory to discharge the second fire extinguisher directly towards the source of fire. Cool down the area to prevent reignition. On galley fires, strip circuit breakers on the galley control panel as necessary. Discharge fire extinguisher towards the source of fire, smoke, as necessary. If fire comes from an oven, crack the oven door if possible, or slightly open it. Discharge fire extinguisher. Wait 1 minute. Reopen oven door to ensure that the fire is extinguished. Then keep oven door closed. Fires in a passenger seat must be fought by discharging halon extinguisher or suffocating the fire with blankets or pillows. Once the fire is under control, the cushion must be torn apart to check that the fire has been completely extinguished. On the overhead bin, ascertain which bin is on fire. Open it only enough to permit the fire extinguisher nozzle to be introduced and fight the fire until it is extinguished. Ensure the fire is fully extinguished and cool the burnt objects down in an appropriate area. If you notice fire on a passenger carry-on luggage, use the fire extinguisher and use water to cool it down after the flames are out. In addition to the fire extinguishers, crew members should obtain additional resources normally encountered within the cabin. For example, non-alcoholic carbonated beverage in which the can or bottle can be shaken up and sprayed onto a fire. The exception is that you should not use it on a fire known of electrical origin. Additional actions by the crew members should ensure therapeutic oxygen bottles are moved out of the affected areas. When smoke source cannot be determined, which calls for the so-called hidden fire, timely and prudent crew response are crucial to minimize risks during the remaining flight. This is the situation where smoke is emitted from areas that cannot be easily accessed by the crew, such as sidewalls, overhead panels, air ducts, or ceiling panels. In this particular situation, complete knowledge of airplane systems operation will save a lot of time in identifying the smoke source. Knowing what is behind an overhead panel, what is beneath the floor, where the air conditioning, hydraulics, and electric lines are housed within the cabin, will make the crew confident on taking immediate actions. If possible, try to locate the exact location of the source before applying extinguishing agent. It is unlikely that a fire in the area involved would be extinguished unless agents were applied directly to the base of the fire. Move the back of the hand along the panel to find the hottest area. The back of the hand is more sensitive than the palm or fingertips. Then gain access to the area. If necessary, remove panels. Use a crash axe to lift the panel, to cut or punch a hole in the aircraft cabin wall, ceiling, or floor panel. Beware of damaging equipment behind the panel. Weigh the risk of creating a bigger problem against the catastrophic potential of an unattended fire. Halon, or BCF, is a liquefied gas that extinguishes fires by chemically interrupting a fire's combustion chain, as opposed to physically smothering the fire. Halon fire extinguisher installed on the Embraer jets is multi-purpose. It can be used on classes A, B, and C fires. That characteristic makes it effective when the source of fire cannot be positively determined. The water fire extinguisher is more effective than Halon against paper, wood, fabric, or rubber, Class A fire. However, the water fire extinguisher should not be sprayed directly into a CB panel or an electrical outlet, nor should it be used on grease or fuel. Water extinguisher use is acceptable if the surface has absorbed the liquid, such as gasoline poured on a seat. Taking this exception into account, you should consider using the first extinguisher available rather than delaying locating the most appropriate extinguisher. Remember to use the fire extinguisher in the upright position, as they are designed to collect the agent from the bottom of the container. To spray, unlock the lever and press the trigger. Aim the discharge nozzle at fire base, spraying quickly side to side across the fire width. Make sure the fire is completely extinguished. Continue to monitor the equipment for the remainder of the flight. Stop acting only after you feel confident that the situation is under control. Remember, a fire will go on until all the combustible material is consumed, the oxygen is over, the temperature has been reduced, or the chain reaction has been broken. A fire extinguisher may contain charge for 8 to 25 second spray, depending on the make and model of the extinguisher. Have backup extinguishers available to use after depletion to continue the firefighting effort. Controversy and misunderstanding has been generated upon the adverse effects of Halon. In one case, a captain instructed a flight attendant not to use the Halon extinguisher, showing his concern probably regarding the adverse effects of the substances involved. It is really recommended that crew use a protective breathing equipment while spraying Halon. However, the NTSB has expressed concern that risks of exceeding the maximum recommended levels of Halon gas have been overemphasized in crew member training programs, especially when compared to the risks of an in-flight fire. The NTSB emphasizes that the potential harmful effects on passengers and crew of Halon are negligible compared to the safety benefits achieved by fighting in-flight fires aggressively. The toxic effects of a typical aircraft seat fire, for example, far outweigh the potential toxic effects of discharging a halon fire extinguisher. Smoke is not necessarily an indication of fire. It is certainly a good indication of an abnormal situation and must be regarded as potentially serious. However, most smoke occurrences are resolved and do not affect the safety of a flight. Indeed, most smoke will result in flight cancellations, air turnbacks, diversions, and declared emergencies. Direct crew response to smoke or fire, no matter how small it is the key. Be positive and confident. Get all the necessary knowledge to cope with such occurrences.